Jam Master Jay, the DJ for rap group Run DMC, was shot to death on the night of October 30th, 2002 at his recording studio in New York City. But even though there were multiple gunmen and multiple eyewitnesses to the murder, it would be more than 2 decades before the perpetrators were named, charged, and convicted. Jay, born Jason Mizell, grew up in Hollis, Queens, a middle-class New York City neighborhood where he taught himself how to DJ on turntables. As a teenager, he would take those turntables to basketball courts at a park near his house, where he would spin and scratch records for big crowds. It was at 2/5 Park that Jay linked up with collaborators, Joseph Rev Run Simmons and Daryl DMC McDaniels, forming Run DMC and becoming the most successful rap group of the 1980s, largely credited with bringing hip-hop into mainstream American culture with a series of platinum albums. He made DJs famous, Thigpen says. He's the one who spun all those fantastic beats, and that's really what defined Run DMC. And while Run DMC's star rose and then subsequently faded, Jay never left the neighborhood he called home. Jay was a good guy. He made a lot of money and he spent a lot of money on his friends. And so he was beloved in that neighborhood, Thigpen says. And he was faithful to his childhood friends, and that's what came back to haunt him. Despite the group's image as anti-drug advocates, Jay turned to drug dealing in the mid-1990s to supplement the band's declining cash flow. In the 6 years preceding his death, he sold large quantities of cocaine. Despite the fact that Jay was murdered as part of a narcotics trafficking conspiracy, his killers weren't random cold-blooded gangsters. They were his close friends. Carl Jordan Jr., the trigger man, was Jam Master Jay's godson. Ronald Washington, who helped control the onlookers during the murder with his own firearm, had been friends with Jay since childhood. In the days before the murder, he had been sleeping on the couch of Jay's childhood home. Sean Haran, who was an assistant U.S. attorney in the Eastern District at the time of the murder, helped focus attention onto Washington as a suspect. There was a mosaic of evidence suggesting that he was involved, that he was in the room. Haran tells AE True Crime, based on a variety of sources. According to Haran, who worked on several cases involved violent narcotics operations in Brooklyn and Queens, it wasn't unique that Jay was killed by lifelong associates. It's unfortunate, but I've prosecuted other cases where people who knew each other as kids turn on each other, Haran says. Ronald Washington had a history of beating people up, shooting people, robbing people. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Jay had secured 10 kilograms of cocaine from a supplier in California, which he was planning to resell in Maryland with Washington and Jordan's help. But Jay would cut the pair out of the approximately $200,000 deal before it was completed.